Academy, a very, very heartfelt welcome. And I want to start with the customary three objectives why this group has been formed, why this learning community is here. You know, um, the first objective is, when I was there on the field as a volunteer and doing certain things, and what I still want to do when I want to help the community or want to do something good, I find there are certain problems. There are certain disempowerments that I have. I don't know this, I don't know that, who to do this, how to do that. So if somebody had taught me this, or there was a way for me to learn this without spending much money, or without ideally without spending any money, I would love to use that opportunity. So now, after 24 years on this path of volunteer service, I decided let's create this community and let's empower the community with knowledge, free skills, free upgradation, which they can apply not only in their personal life, but also as a way to help others. So that is the first objective. The second objective is, we find money as an empowerment tool. We would like people to have enough money to help themselves and to help others. What this really means is that generally, at least that's my understanding, that unless good people come together, it's a cliche, but idea, people who are honest, who want to really stand up to their values and and still live a very dignified, happy, and comfortable life. I think it's very important that such people should come together. We need to support each other. My spiritual guide tells me, or tells us rather, that terrorists and evil people have a lot of bonding with them, but good people, the so-called spiritual people, don't bond. So money is a important empowerment, and we want to help people earn more with honesty and with dignity. And we want to create certain paid programs which can help them achieve these goals. We just concluded one paid program yesterday, and I think it was very well received. Another great opportunity that we want to discover which we want to discover and we want people to discover for themselves is the power of giving. Uh, you know, what the great knowledge givers of the world have said, and I am also a student of this principle, is that those who give are the people are those are people who get. For example, if you have knowledge, and you can empower people with knowledge. If you have money, you can empower people with money. So this platform is a empowerment platform for you to empower others. We will help you tap into your own knowledge. Maybe we can help you structure your knowledge. We can help you become a knowledge giver. We can also help you become a giver of wealth. We want to create certain models where you will be able to participate in the model, and you will not even feel that you're giving charity, and still the money goes to great causes and noble causes of this world. And we want to create an ecosystem where the taking and the giving happens automatically, and there's no real strain in the person who wants to make a donation or wants to give. There's no word like donation. It's just happening simple in a very simple, seamless way. So that is an aspirational model. And slowly, if the community gets strong and we kind of get to know each other, trust bonds, we'll test this model out. So this is the three objectives. And a community is definitely a place where a team builds. One person, two people, three people, and then we keep synergizing. And 1 and 1 becomes 11, and 1 becomes 111. So that's the power of synergy. That's the power of community that I want to explore. This is completely an experiment, and I hope people in this community will feel enthused with these ideas and come forward and participate and join hands. So now let's come to the topic at hand today. So this is the spectrum that we are going to discuss today. 10x sales learnings. Because the topic, these are topics I posted. They will not really be in this order, but this is we're going to converse rather. At any point of time, if you have a question to ask, I'm having a little technical issue. I'm not able to see the chats. I'm only able to see my own screen. So just unmute yourself and ask a question. So that's sort of important for me to understand how we can interact. So so any part where you want me to stop and you have a question to ask, go ahead. And any time where I want to interact, I myself will put up a question. Okay. So we have a good focused 45 minutes, 50 minutes from here, and let's start. So the first thing that the first principle that I want to request, that what you're going to learn next is going to be very, very powerful. I was not aware of these things, and as I became, my awareness of these things grew, and I started to realize how powerful these principles are. These principles can be used to manipulate others. So we must make sure that we use these principles and this knowledge for the sake of good, and not for to manipulate people. So this is a kind of a request, that this program is all about unleashing the power of good. We need to become heartful salesmen. Many times people ask me that, do you have the ability to sell a comb to a bald man? I said, yes, I can. But should we do it is a question. A bald man doesn't need a comb unless he wants to do some trading or gift it to someone else or whatever. But he really doesn't need a comb for himself. There is so much, there's so many people trying to sell you things which you don't really need. Let us not get into that zone at all. And let us look for the right shoe and the right shoe and the right foot, so that there is no mismatch of our ability and the resources, and and the whole bandwagon. Let us commit to be sellers of honest and useful things, so that this world becomes a better place. I know it's a big deal, but let's do the best we can in this area. Whatever is going to follow after this is all secondary. The most important thing is the pure intention to be genuinely helpful to people. That is the secret weapon. Whatever is being shared in this heartful community, there will always be the element of heart in it. And what is the heart? The heart is but a pure state of purity, of goodness, of brotherhood, of a somewhere of a win-win idea, win-win idea, where you wouldn't like to hurt anyone, and you are really caring for the person who's there in front. And that is the purity of intention, which is the most powerful weapon in this whole techniques that you're going to see from here onwards. Because of this, because your intentions are pure, believe me, you will earn a sense of respect and trust, and you will see that how this is a very important aspect in today's sales and marketing, because the world is getting smarter, and people are trying to understand why where there's so much competition and everyone's saying the same thing and the messaging, then why you? And in this whole thing, your pure intention will be respected, and the trust factor will convert to sales. So guys, this is the first thing. Okay. Brain science of selling. Now, what happens here is that I'm simplifying this whole thing. I'm not getting into the technicalities of neuroscience, nor am I a neuroscientist, but as much as it is applicable to this subject, we will touch. So there are two parts of the brain in terms of the context that we are discussing here. One is the prefrontal cortex, the forehead side. And the second is your limbic system, or the amygdala, and where the amygdala is associated, which is the back of your head. So most of the time, most of the human beings are in an automatic thinking system, the automated thinking system, and they are in the limbic system, or the amygdala of the brain. Somebody needs to mute himself. Okay, thank you. So what happens here, that a person is in the limbic system, or the amygdala of his brain, not the amygdala, but the limbic system, the limbic part of his brain where the amygdala is situated. And this is the part where most of the time, most of us are operating. Now, this is the part where our responses are automatic, we are excited, we are negative, we are fearful. Our subconscious thinking operates in this part of the brain. When it comes to decision making, whether I should buy it or I should not buy it, or you need to think logically, when you need to think, you have to be conscious about your thinking process. That happens in the prefrontal cortex. Unfortunately, guys, the bad news is that 5% of the time we are in this prefrontal cortex, and most of the time we are in this limbic system. So when a customer comes to us, be sure that he is in the limbic system of his, using a limbic system of his brain. have you noticed the moment we approach someone to say hello or to just make there is a fear response. He's afraid. And that is because he's in the limbic system. His amygdala triggers the fight and flight response, which says, "Oh, be careful." So a great salesman must be able to understand this human response. That first time you are going to be rejected or you're going to get a defensive response, and you should be able to overcome that. During the process of sales, the two very important times moments in the sales is the opening and the closing. The opening of the sales and the closing of the sales. And at both these times, it is preferred that the person is in the prefrontal cortex. You have to bring him, you have to make him calm, you have to make him think logically so that he can decide. Because if he is in the limbic system, the default message in the limbic system, the subconscious brain is no, 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 no. Rarely is a human being positive. It is fear, negative, especially with the first time sales. He doesn't know you. There's no fear. And all the things that you're going to, you want to hear after this, you please relate with this, the brain science, that how you're using these techniques to get the person out from his subconscious fear-driven negative thinking pattern to a positive way of looking at the thing. So this is a very important aspect of what we are trying to tell here. And a person who has a meditative mind, for him handling this kind of sales is easy. He will be able to be calm. He will not get carried away by the initial negative responses of the customer. He will be steady, and he will be able to make headway with the customer. A very important aspect. This is kind of a golden rule. I don't know how many of us know this. The sales that happens at the first time, if you approach 100 people, they are not sales ready. This is a very simple thing, but all of us miss this point. That people, when you approach people, mostly they are not sales ready, and only 1% or 2% will convert in the first or second time. The general rule is that after the fourth follow-up, between 4th to the 13th to the 16th follow-up, 80% of the sales happen. If this information is really surprising for you, just type 1. I'm watching the screen, just type 1. That sales happens 80% from the 4th to the 16th follow-up. Yes, I can see some ones. Yes. Shocking, right? So this news hit me like a rocket. So I didn't find any other better word than this. But great salesmen are not the people who only talk effectively and make great openings. But great salesmen are people who follow up very effectively, And we leave a lot of money on the table. The money on the table is a phrase that Americans use a lot, which they say that when you've done something, the opportunity is on the table, but you don't convert. So by not following up your leads, we are leaving money on the table. So why I have put this point over here is that a person, once he listens to your sales pitch, he withdraws back into his limbic system, in his subconscious mind, and is fixated with negativity or fear, or because that's how human beings are. You're not selling to anyone, you're selling to a human being. And with time, with persistent, gradual, without irritating the customer, when you follow up, slowly he comes from his fear system into his prefrontal cortex, which is logical decision making, conscious thinking process, and the sales convert. Okay, so this is a very nice point. Now we move forward. Okay, the next big secret: 25 cognitive biases. Guys, this again something that blew me out. This actually is a negative thing. When Warren Buffett's partner Charlie Munger, he's put a very nice video on YouTube about this, and he said he talks about it in the context that we have to be careful that we don't get manipulated by these cognitive biases. What does the word cognitive bias mean in the first place? 25 cognitive biases are our mental hardwiring. As human beings, we are hardwired to react and act in a particular way. If A plus B happens with you, there is a very good chance, not 100% chance, but a very, very good chance, a very intense chance that, A plus B is equal to C. The C will happen. And these are the 25 A plus B scenarios which will make the C happen. So that is why when the beginning of the program, I said we have to use this for the power of good. If you really believe that what I'm going to sell to this person, whether it is an idea, whether it is an object, whether it is paid or whether it is free, if it is useful for him, then you should use this cognitive biases because it is for the good. For example, when I know that this is for the good, but this guy is not going to buy in easily, then I would use this. But I have to be really convinced that what I'm going to give him is good. So once again, I'm calling on this point that please use these things with a lot of care and with a view of spreading goodness. So let's discuss a few of them. We cannot obviously do 25. The first one is availability bias. This हमको हिंदी में मालूम है, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. It's a very famous phrase here. It is called the availability bias. Many people talk about great books and great things, but the best books in history written, people are not talking about them. You know why? Because they are not available. They are not visible. The whole phenomena of the advertisement industry is based on the fact कि जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. If it is available, if it is in front of you, it will sell. The human brain doesn't want to go make effort. It's sort of, unless you train it to be hardworking, by default it is lazy. It wants to pick up the easiest option. If there is something better little down the road, you will not want to walk. You want to just pick up something which is close by. It's okay. It's available. It's next door. If everything is, if some ad is coming to you every day, you just associate it is a good thing. You tend to associate effectiveness with that. So this is the first bias. Guys, if you liked it, press 1. So I know that this availability bias is clear. Press 1. Yes. Good. That encourages me. That gives energy to the presentation. Okay. So the second bias, again, it is something that most of us experience. If you have a shopkeeper and he talks harsh with you, would you buy from him? You wouldn't buy from him. Even if the other shopkeeper is about, say, a little, he keeps the choices a little less with him. But if he's friendly with you, you'll give him a shot. It is called the like him or like her bias. You tend to buy from persons whom you like. This point is very clear. I'll move fast. The third point is a reward bias. This is called the incentive bias. When you want to sell something, the person should feel the plus factor. There is a reward involved. When we go ahead in the presentation, we will see how this reward bias is also looked at in a different way. But the whole idea is everyone likes a reward. Everyone likes to be blessed with some extra stuff. It is a reward bias. And the opposite of this is the punishment bias. The punishment bias is when a person is going to be punished, people move towards reward and they move away from punishment. That this, in your sales, if somebody is coming to buy a Corona mask, and he is not closing, then the shopkeeper tells about the spike in the Corona that has happened recently, that how somebody's person so-and-so has visited the hospital. So you create a punishment scenario that if you're not buying this in a very subtle way, that person, moves away from the decision of not buying towards buying. Okay, and the opposite of that is reward bias. The urgency bias. Many times, have you all seen that there's a timer whenever you go online, kuch kharidna hai, and then someone will, there's a timer, just 1 hour, or when you go to Amazon, only one piece left. They are champions. Every day there's only one piece left. That is just an urgency bias. It is to trigger your human brain to take action. That is called urgency bias. The next one is reciprocity bias. What really this means is that the human beings in general they have this thing to be grateful. So if you want something from a person, first give it to him. First give something from your life. A famous example I remember is that in Bombay, when I was in Bombay, and people from ISKCON, they're very nice people. They wanted to give you a Gita and ask you to pay whatever you like. First they would give you a flower. The moment you take a flower or you come out of the airport, they give you a flower. Then they will say, would you like to take this? So if maybe many may not buy, but many will stop because because they received a flower. It's very difficult that if somebody has given you even a small obligation that you can ignore him. You know? Imagine how this entire social media world works. If somebody likes you, somebody follows you, somebody really, there's so much gratitude you have for that person. You know, that even that if you would call up and ask you a favor in the physical world, you feel so much that yes, I will do it. So these are the biases and there are 25 cognitive biases. I'll try to put some. I will try to put something in the group, some YouTube videos related to this, and all of you all can see it at length. But the idea was to make you aware. So the first very important thing we did was the brain science of selling. Okay. Then we discussed the 25 cognitive biases. If you really want to study them very well, I suggest a book down in the screen I've mentioned. The book called Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. Okay, it's available on Amazon. I think a free copy is also available in PDF. Please go through this. It's a fantastic book. If you want to master the art of persuasion, then you must master these principles. It's fantastic. And many of us here are, volunteers who are doing good. Let's use these principles. Let's use these principles to, share the power of goodness, to increase the power of goodness. People are scamming us, selling us stupid products, using these biases. Let us sell quality. Let us sell great products. Let us create goodness. Let's use these powers for the purpose of goodness. This is another great secret. Okay, I'll just take a small break. Is there anyone to ask any question? Does anybody want to ask a question? A 3-minute break. Any quick question? Anybody want to put in the chat? Or
brother, book name repeat कीजिएगा. Book name
repeat. The book name is Influence. Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. ऑथर का नाम है रॉबर्ट बी सियालिनी, किताब का नाम है इन्फ्लुएंस. आगे बढ़े. Okay, so the next important thing that I want to share is, which really can be so useful for us, is the personality types. Now what happens here is, in Hindi again there is a kahawat, we try to, I'm not able to remember, but there is a thing which says that we should not measure everyone with the same stick. We shouldn't try to drive everyone with the same stick. What this really means is that our sales techniques, our sales pitch has to be adjusted to the kind of person who is in front of us. There is I learned this system from Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez is a management teacher, self-improvement teacher. He's from the United States, and I have done some of his courses, and I picked it up from him, and I credit him for this knowledge. This knowledge is called the PACE system. According to him, there are 4 categories in which you can broadly categorize everyone. The P is the practical people. They are the logical people, the people who use reason, and they need, they work with a lot of patience. They are the practical people, the accountants of the world. They are the very logical, they use logic and reason for everything. The A is the action type. People who are swift, they want to take purposeful action, quick, they want to take decision. They don't like, beyond a point, they don't like discussion, they don't like thinking, they want action. That's the A type. Then there is the S type. The S type are the social people. For them, the likeness factor, that I should like you, you should like me, is very important. Once I start liking you, I will buy from you. For them, social connection is the most important aspect of a relationship. And the third and the last one is the E type, the emotional type. The emotional type are the people who, for whom trust and a heart-based approach is very important. Who believe that you have to be very genuine. They will open up to you. Then they will, and they will also withdraw very fast if you hurt them. They are very sensitive. They are the people who have a thin skin. They are thin-skinned people. Touch me not kind of flowers. So every person who is out there can be put in this bucket. It's not that a person will be only practical or only action, only social or only emotional. But the fact is that there will be a predominant quality. There will be a top quality. He could be, for example, The first primary thing can be social, then he may be emotional, then he may be action, and then he may be practical. So you have to understand very quickly who you are dealing with, and you have to adjust your sales pitch to that person. For example, a social kind of person is a person who doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to hurt you because he believes in social and networking. So he will, when you make a sales pitch, he'll say, yes, yes, I will surely call you tomorrow. Yeah, it was jolly well talking to you. And then tomorrow he will not receive your call. And he'll say, yaar, kya aadmi hai, mujhe bola, mera time barbaad kiya. You know, what kind of a person he is. Please don't do that. He is a social person. You know, the next thing that you should do to him next time is stop selling. If you understood that he's a social person, send him hi messages, become his friend, send him things that he'll appreciate, he starts liking. And then after some time, you try again. Again, he withdraws, again, you continue, you know. So we must know the art of understanding who we are dealing with. Take, for example, another case where you're dealing with an action person. An action person loves aggression. If you keep going to him with logic and reason, every meeting he will say, yes, we'll meet next time, we'll meet next time. But there comes to a time after second, third, fourth sales, you say, yeah, I am telling the same thing, why is he not convinced? And if you have understood that this guy is aggressive, he's acting, he's moving fast, you have to get aggressive with him in the sales. You may find it a little funny, you can never get aggressive in sales, but that is wrong. You have to get sometimes aggressive in sales based on the type of person who is in front of you. If you get aggressive with an emotional person, he will throw you out from his mind and heart complete. You're out of his messaging. But if you're very soft with action people, they'll not respect you. You know, they'll say, "Yeah, theek hai, yaar." You know, he's this kind of person. So you have to take, once you judge the person, you have to change your tone. You have to go, you know, Mr. Mirchandani, today happens to be the last day of this offer. And I really suggest that after spending 3 days with 3 times, today is a day you should take the decision. If you don't take the decision, do you think this is going to be fair on my time? So you have put a little bit of aggression in your sales, and he will respect you, you know, because he's an action man. He knows ki action lena hai, no point in just postponing things. So you must talk in the language of the person you are trying to sell to. Your language doesn't really mean Chinese and Japanese and Hindi, but what the person associates, his personality type. You have to, you know, adjust to the personality type. So this is a great one, you know, community members, PASE. So the P guys will take time to get convinced, use logic, reasons, and patience. In the A types, swiftness, purposefulness, speed is appreciated. S type, please give them time. You know, you get them to like you, and then you can talk about sales. And for the E type, either you can close fast by projecting trust, true trust, and a heart-based, genuine approach, and they will fall for you. You know, or if you have hurt them, forget it. You might as well forget. They're not going to open to you. You hurt them. It's going to take a lot of time. So, as they say, the first impression is a very important aspect in selling, and this is a very important aspect. If you can, in your first few minutes, if you can gauge what kind of person he is, you know, or as fast as you can, or if you can do a research. If you are going to an accountant, by nature is going to be a practical person. If you're going to meet youngsters in a young marketing office, they are likely to be social people. You know, if you are talking to people who are very value, you know, who are very ethical, value conscious people, they're likely to be emotional people, because you know they are the guys who really, you know, think in these terms. And then if you're likely to meet successful business people, managers, CEOs, they're likely going to be action people, because action people, you know, make it to that grade. So you have to think a bit and, you know, adjust sales. The next one is this, you know, very important understanding that trust converts to sales. Here I'm not really talking about monopoly products, urgent products, elastic demand, you know. Here I'm talking about products which are normal. For example, if you have no choice, if a person is abusing you also, you will buy. If you need a medicine very badly, the shopkeeper is, you know, snaring at you, and you know, you don't like his face, you still buy that medicine because you require it. You know? If there is a, you know, if it's raining and if there is some plastic cover somebody is selling for 10 rupees, which should have been sold for 50 paisa, you know, and he's still making you stand in the line, you will still buy because you have to protect your mobile. It happened with me once, you know. It was started raining in Mumbai, and a person, very rough, dirty looking person, you know, He started, mobile covers for 20 rupees, 20 rupees. It was just a plastic bag. It was raining so heavily. I had to still stand in the line, look at him and buy that thing which was not worth more than 10 paisa, 20 paisa for 20 rupees. So I'm not talking about these things. What I'm talking about is a normal situation, the 75, 80% of the situation. So this is how it flows. First, you like a person, then you know a person, then you trust a person, then you buy small, then you buy big, and then you repeat the sales. It is very important for us to know where in our sales journey the customer is. If a person is a social S type of a person, and if he is in the like zone, you have to talk and do things which are according to that like kind of situation. The same person, if he comes to the trust zone, you know that he started trusting you. Now that's the time when you make a small pitch that, would you like to, hey, why don't you look at this? I really liked it. What do you think? Small buy. And then you go for the bigger buy. Once he has bought something small, then you go for the big buy. You look at websites selling things to you. They sell it very cheap. The first entry level is very, very cheap. Very don't mind. 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 50 rupees, 500 rupees. Okay, what is this small? The moment you buy, they'll say, this is usually bought with this. They start upselling, So the moment you have trusted them and bought something small, they will start sending you something big. And you tend to buy. But initially the buy is small. And once you have bought something and if the product supports and the service is good, the customer is yours. Please remember, sales, the first sales belongs to the salesman. The second and the third sale, the repeat sales belongs to the product. A salesman can only get you the first sale and perhaps the second sale. If you are getting repeat sales, it's because of the great product, great service, and because the product is really useful or the service is really useful. So, and that completes the journey from like, know, trust, small buy, big buy, repeat sales. This is a customer development cycle. You have to map, you must have ways to address, to know which customer is where, and you have to sell. Even if you take a simple sari shop, a person who is coming there, it works there. Every smart sari seller will know this process, that how this works. If there is time and if there is somebody here, we'll see if we can bring him in for feedback. This is an extension of the earlier point. There are 2-3 things we should know. That incentivize sales, that is your engine. Never give a lot of salary to your sales people. Give them survival salary and incentivize sales. That's the secret formula. Salesmen are the wheels of your system, but the engine is the incentive. If the engine is not working, the sales will not work. Okay, give them survival salary and incentive for sales. Even a very important concept, okay, in marketing is a sales funnel. A sales funnel is a system which takes a person down from a lead, from a simple interest or an opportunity to a sale. Through gently you take him down, engage with him, and you follow up with him, then you convert, and then you sell. It is a system. When you get into people, whether you're running a conventional shop, the system is there. It may not be written somewhere. It may not be, but there will be a system in the background that works like that. All successful sales shop will have this system. And the moment you come into internet marketing, the moment you come into this is unavoidable. If you don't have a sales funnel, you are wasting your time. There has to be a sales funnel where you generate the lead, then you start engaging. Then guys, what is happening here? See, we are connecting these 2 things: like, know, trust, all big, repeat sales. It's exactly what this is. This is a conversion of that was the philosophy. This is the practical aspect. So initially you will get, they will sell you a free ebook. They will sell you a free, that if you give me an ebook, I'll give you an ebook if you give me an email ID. The moment you give your email ID, you become a lead for them. After that, they start giving you nice content. They start telling you, teaching you this, that. They start liking, and then they will start giving you testimonials, how they are trusted, and they start winning your trust. And they give you so much good stuff that you start liking them. And then they'll give you a small offer. Would you consider, this? They'll connect it to all the knowledge that they have given you, and they'll say, why don't you just go for this simple thing? That's it. With that, you entered their, sales category. So all of us are a part of funnel of somebody. And if you want to drive sales, please do it. Again, I keep coming back to the presentation. This can be used for manipulation. But we will use it for the power of good. We will use it to spread goodness. So this is a very powerful aspect, which is called a sales funnel, and it is to be used all selling opportunities. But especially if you're doing internet online marketing, without this, don't begin. You're wasting your time. This is how the process is. So we move forward. Okay, so I will just stop here. Any quick questions? Okay, just to figure out, if you found this information really interesting, liking and amazing, please say I like it. Please chat I like it. Please type in your chat box I like it.
Bhaiya, there is a question.
Yes, please.
How to sell to your close friends, because at some point of time, no matter how much the product is good, it might seem a little pushy for them, because friends तो आपको समझते हैं ना कि मतलब घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर टाइप्स हो जाता है उनके साथ. So
sister, let us explore this question together. Okay, now I don't want to sound here like an expert. I'm saying you know the answer. Let us try to draw the answer from from your side also. What is your product? Let us begin. आप क्या बेचना चाहते हैं? आप क्या?
Okay, you are asking me.
I'm asking you. आप बेचना क्या चाहते हैं? बताइए.
Okay, let's say I want to sell a course.
You want to sell a course, okay?
Course, yeah.
It's a teaching course, right?
A leadership course, let's
say. You want to sell a leadership course, okay? Now, who are the people who are going to benefit from your course? Who are the type of people? Say, if you have 10 friends, are all the 10 going to benefit, or is it this 2 or 3 or 4 people who are likely going to benefit?
No, it is for working professionals, let's say, and many of my friends are working professionals, so yeah, it will benefit them.
And how sure you are that this is going to benefit them? How convinced you are that this course is really going to benefit them? And if I charge them, say 10,000 rupees, I'm going to give them 1 lakh rupees value. Are you sure about this? Are you sure that you are going to create a world-class course? That's my question. Next question to you. Is that conviction in you? Or are you that person who's going to say, ये तो सब लोग इसका 10,000 ले रहे हैं, मैं 9,000 ले लेती हूँ, तो ये बिक जाएगा? Or are you that person who says, if I'm charging 1,000 rupees for this course, these guys are not going to get this for 10,000 rupees outside? Do you have that conviction?
Yeah, I do.
If you have that conviction, then you are serving. Now you are not selling. Are you talking to yourself and saying that I am a seller? Then tell me, if you have this value proposition, are you selling or are you serving? What are you doing? Tell me something. Are you selling or talk to yourself? Are you serving or are you selling? When you're giving something that is worth 10 times what you're charging, are you serving or are you selling?
It is serving, yeah.
So first get the mental block out of your mind, sister. It begins with our own mind. हिचक वहां नहीं है, sister. हिचक हमारे अंदर है. हिचक हमारे अंदर है. You look at it, we can have a separate chat because this is a group conversation. If necessary, आप मुझे 1-to-1 WhatsApp करें. I am there, Deepak is there, we can talk to you. But please remember, if you are convinced about the value of a product, that is 90% of the game. The problem is, sort that equation out first. And then never feel, अभी मैंने जो पहले आपको कहा कि जो brain science है, जो initial आदमी withdraw करेगा. Did you pick up the statement when I said that 80% of the people are not ready for sales in your first, second pitch? चाहे वो friend हो, चाहे कोई भी हो, he is not ready. उसका आपका relation जो है, वो friendship का है. जब आपने बोला तो थोड़ा सा वो withdraw करेगा. वो थोड़ा सा, you have to work consistent, assuming you have the value proposition, and you have really trained yourself and become a good coach. There is no doubt about it. Because all this cannot work unless there's a great value proposition for you to sell. If you have come there, you know that I have trained myself, I am good, I am genuine, I'm really giving good stuff now, then be persistent. Gently, it will happen. And tell yourself that, set your expectation that when I pitch for the first time, 2% people will convert. When I pitch for the second time, 3% will convert. When I pitch for the 15th time, maybe 60-70% of the people whom I have followed up will convert. Okay.
No, but
Thank you,
how
sister.
many times do you? But how many times do you follow? Because at some point of time, the follow-up kind of also, may set the person in the in their mind that ये तो हमेशा इसी चीज की बात करती है.
So you need to mix it up, sister. If you that's where you need to do hybrid marketing. Hybrid marketing is the old marketing and the new marketing. The hybrid, in the old marketing there was face-to-face calling, face-to-face meeting, calling. Nowadays there's so much. There's messaging, there is emails. You know, don't always talk only about sales. You know, there is a system. There is a system to this. Once you've understood कि ये आदमी किस तरह का है, इसकी needs किस तरीके के हैं, then you've mapped him out. Then slowly you take this transition. First you get liked, then you get him to know you, then you get to trust, then you make him a small offer. You know, if it is possible among 10 friends, 2 को free में कराओ. Tell them we're getting that free and get some testimonials out of them. You know, that oh, this is a lovely course. You know, let them start talking about it, that it's really lovely. So with all these things, you will definitely win. When I mean by follow-up, doesn't mean day 1, day 2, day 3. No. You have to see the 14th follow-up maybe after 6 months. There was I was vice president sales in one of the leading companies in South India, and I had a senior person. Since he was president, and one great thing he taught me, that the most valuable customer, if a customer takes time to, this is actually for B2B, business to business, the more a customer takes time to get into you, come to you, the more he is going to be with you. If a customer quickly comes, it means that he will marry anyone. Today he has come to you in the second call, he will go to anyone also in the second call. But if a customer has made you really follow up, which means he is looking at you keenly and he values you, and once he's inside your company, he's not going to exit also very easily. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sister. If there is more questions, we would love to take it up in the community chat in one-to-one. Thank you, sister. Thank you for the engagement. So let us move forward. Thank you, sister. So connect instantly. Now I am taking up the more simpler aspects of this presentation, and hopefully there will be a little time for our chat after this. So this is again something, this probably many of us know, but some of us, it's good to kind of revise this, you know. So when you are doing face-to-face selling, you know, the first thing that we need to do is smile. The moment you see a stranger, you know, he is staring at you, please, you don't stare back. You don't, you know, that is the amygdala of his, that is the limbic system of his brain talking to you. He's scanning at you, he's afraid of you. You know, abhi mera paisa le lega, abhi mere ko kuch bolne wala hai. You smile, you give him a heartwarming smile. So you make him relax, you know. That's really a great thing. I don't know if you really understand the value of a warm smile. Just break the barriers, you know. Next is the eye contact. Many of us don't. We're talking to people, we are looking at his, you know, we are looking here, we are looking there. We're not looking into his eyes. You know, we're not really looking into his eyes. And there's a science which says you should look in the left eye or right eye. I'm not getting into it. But those who are more interested can explore the science. Which eye, if you're trying to be friends with someone, you have to look at which eye more. If you're trying to sell someone, which eye more. If you're trying to control someone, which eye you should see more. There's a science to it. But I'm not ready with my notes here today, so I will not talk about it. But eye contact is important. In general, I'm saying a loving eye contact, you know, which looks straight into his soul with love, and which communicates to him that I care for you. The smile and the eye contact which says, I am a genuine person, you know, and it's okay if you don't buy, but listen to my story. Maybe it can help you. If your smile and your eyes can say that, then I think you've made a great start. And then you scan fast and evaluate. You know, my mother told me this when I was very young. So when she used to go shopping, there were times I used to ask her that why everyone is telling you I will come and deliver. Why are they ready to give you home service? There's a person in front who has walked, he has bought something and he did not offer. My mother bought just maybe 10 or 20% of what the other person has bought, but the person is ready to give him home service. And then my mother says, you know, it's because of this diamond ring that I'm wearing. You know, marriage diamond ring. They look at it and they figure out that this guy or this person can, you know, he can make money. So a lot of shopkeepers, they have ways to find out whether this person is who is this person, what is he, what is going to be his taste, what is he actually wearing, what is the shoes he is wearing, what is the makeup, what is the kind of shirt he's wearing, is it tucked in. People will quickly make us scan, and they will pitch according to that. What I mean by pitch is whatever I have spoken earlier to this, they will bring all that knowledge into play, and they will start doing this. When we come into digital marketing, this scan, fast, and evaluate is called understanding your avatar. If you have understanding your avatar, it's a new phrase from America, which says that you should understand the type of your customer so well that you should know that this type of customer, that this type of people, for example, if you're marketing to middle-aged housewives in the age of 35 to 45, if your product is for them, you should know when you give a name to that customer. You call her Mangla, and what does she wear? She wears a Mangal Sutra. She has a tika. This is her dressing code. This is where she goes. This is the mall she will visit, and this is the time she will eat food. This is her preferences. This is the magazine she will wear. This is the movies she will watch. This is the preferences she will have. This is the restaurant she will go. Once you know everything about the type of customer that you have, then you can target that customer much better, and you can message that customer much better. So this is called scanning fast and evaluating. Now the next thing, which is more applicable to digital but to face-to-face also, is the hook. How many of us watch any content which doesn't grab our attention in the first 10-15 seconds? Suppose I put a video in the group. How many of you will watch more than 10-15 seconds and more than 10 seconds to decide whether I have to watch it again or not? Everywhere. It's just 10, maybe nowadays you're seeing even less, 6, 7, 8 seconds. They will see it and they will make up. If the post look good, they will read further. If the post itself is shabby, they will not look further. The first statement, the first impression that you make should be an interest grabber. You should be able to grab the interest of the person with the first thing that you say. You have given a smile, you've got the eye contact, you have made your... The first thing that you say should, get his interest. That is called the hook. For example, in today's session, what was the hook? Can you say? I made this webinar and I put up a topic. What was the hook? Come on, put it quickly in the chat. What was the hook for today, inviting you to today's webinar? What is the hook I used? You can chat. You can put it in your chat box. What is the hook that I used? Yes? Replies coming in. The slide, okay. What else? Attempt. Content slide, okay. 10x sales. Yes. Munira, bang on the 10x factor. That's it. You see the 10x factor. That was the hook. That is what kind of drew your attention. What is this? Because everybody wants to sell, right? The moment you and it's not a lie, because all this, if you're going to do and if you apply, your sales are going to go more than 10x. If you design your system, if you're struggling with your sales, this can really change a lot of things for you, and in a big way. So it is not a lie; it is truth. But I exaggerated things so that the customer's hook is there. Okay, that is called the interest grab. Then the packaging, the first impression. Now this is very important. Lot of good people who have good product, good substance, they have poor packaging, and lot of people who are not up there on quality, their packaging is excellent. The kind of content that you're getting here is world class. But maybe my packaging may not be as great. I'm not wearing a suit, a tie, and I'm not talking with a lot of accent and things like that. But this is pure substance. This is real stuff. Real thing that can be useful for you. So, but unfortunately, we have to catch up. As I am progressing and as I am learning more and more, I want to be a very impactful speaker. I don't want to make mistakes. I am still, say, 9 on 10 right now. I want to reach 9.9 on 10. And I will learn from all of you and from mentors like Deepak who can help me achieve that, the difference and move ahead. Because the packaging has to be fantastic. So, जो भी आप बेच रहे हो, आप please ये don't think कि मेरा product तो बहुत अच्छा है, quality बिकेगा. भाई साहब, ये आज की दुनिया है, 5, 10, 15 सेकंड में आदमी हाँ या ना बोल देता है. क्वालिटी तो आपकी तब आएगी जब वो खरीदेगा ना. He will buy that quality. He will know the quality when he buys. If packaging itself is not, eye catching, eye grabbing, then why will he do it? Another thing that I want to say in this context, which is related to packaging, is do in Rome what Romans do. This is a simple statement that you are first judged by the customer's perspective. If you pass, he will only then listen to you. This is a very big philosophy. इसके ऊपर मैं एक छोटा एक 2-3 पन्ने का आर्टिकल लिख के भी ग्रुप में डालने वाला हूँ. But what it really means in this context is that whatever you are, first you have to pass the gates of the customer's evaluation about you. If the person judges quality from a particular perspective, अगर उस आदमी को लगता है कि ये प्रोडक्ट ऐसा है तो ही इसमें क्वालिटी है, you have to pass that test. There are some people who will say anything below 1,000 rupees is a bad garment. It cannot be good. उनका perspective है. So whether you like it or not, and if you want to sell to those kind of customer, your pricing cannot be less than 1,000 rupees. You have to sell it for 1,500 rupees, 1,300 rupees, 3,000 rupees, because you will not be able to penetrate his evaluation of quality. आपने सोना दे दिया 800 रुपए में, वो नहीं खरीदेगा. So you have to understand your avatar, your customer avatar, what is his perspective of quality. कि मैंने सबसे अच्छी क्वालिटी सबसे सस्ती बेच दी, लेकिन क्या आपका वो कस्टमर समझता है कि 800 रुपीज, 600 रुपीज, 400 रुपीज का ये शर्ट आलिशान क्वालिटी है? नहीं, वो नहीं समझता है. और आप ये समझाते समझाते समझेंगे उसको. तो या तो आप अपना कस्टमर वो हिसाब से समझिए जो ये भाषा समझता हो. पर्सन हु कैन अंडरस्टैंड योर मैसेजिंग correctly, that is the person you should target, or you adjust your messaging to the person whom you are trying to target. Okay, so we move forward. Thank you, brothers. So this is my, I think, second last slide. Generosity triggers closure. This is something very, very nice. This comes from my great spiritual teacher, Shri Parsati Rajgopalachari. One very nice statement that he used to tell us, about selling. He said, selling is a combination of light persuasion, humor, and generosity. Light persuasion, humor, and generosity. My teacher was a great salesman, perhaps one of the best salesmen in the world. And this came from him, Another great one that he said was, a great salesman never sells. He makes the other person buy. He can create so much interest, and he'll never say buy the product. The other person will ask, "Bhi kya hai batao?" I was also once when I started my career, I was with my boss, and I happened to be with him in a couple of sales meetings. I was in operations that time, but he took me for a couple of sales meetings, and he never opened his sales bag. All of us have to open. He should talk about him, talk about his company, talk about his customers. What is this? What is that? And there has to be a time in the meeting where he'd open his bag. And then I asked him, that's how, you don't, there seems to be a science at the timing of opening your bag. He just smiled. He said, yes, he said, Vishal, you're smart, And that was my understanding that is the time I started understanding that sales is not a random activity. Sales is not a random activity. And now you will next slide see that it is not a random activity. It is practiced. You know what to say, when to say, when is the right time to talk about product, So these things are very important. Don't just start selling your product. It is not the product that sells. They have to first like you. They have to know you. They have to trust you. And then you open up the product. And you open up 2 pieces first, 3 pieces first. And you demonstrate it that, oh, how beautiful it is, this, that, what wonderful pricing. And then if you see that shine in his eyes, then you pick up another 5 pieces. And then you wait till he says, please open the bag. You don't open the bag till he asks you to open the bag. So a great salesman does not sell, he makes the other person buy. So what does generosity mean? I try to figure it out long time, that what this really means. You should make the customer feel that he has got the better of you. He got a deal that, he squeezed the best deal out of you. He won. Let your customer win. You be the smarter person. You know that if you cannot go at X, you start the deal at X plus plus plus. Let the person win at X plus. Let him win at X plus. No problem. Let him win at X. Even if you know you have sold it at X price, you have won. So never always begin your sales pitch at X plus plus plus. It will never close at X. If you begin at X, you will lose. You must begin at X plus plus plus. Of course, if it's MRP fixed price, it doesn't apply. But if you are doing a B2B negotiation, everybody knows that you have no deal can close without giving a discount. If there are some housewives here, you know, the fruit guy has to give you the 20 rupees back. Otherwise, that guy is not good. You're not going to go back to him. He doesn't give. He acha aadmi nahi hai. The poor guy just charged you the value of what was correct. But the other guy, he charged 20 rupees less and then reduced it. And then he said, this guy is good. He apna aadmi hai, practical hai, samajhta hai. You know, he cooperates. You'll go to him. So please take care. This is a human response that you have to make the customer feel. वो एक advertisement था ना, oh, time is up. Okay, just one slide. Deepak, with your permission and group's permission, can I have another say 10 minutes? If it's okay, just type yes. You know, I ran out of my time. Is it okay if it's okay for 10 minutes more? Okay, I see enough yeses. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will try to keep to my time in future. Thank you so much. But 10 minutes more. Thank you so much. So generosity triggers closure. Okay? Now let's go to the next one. This is you know, practice and humor. As I was telling in the earlier slide, a good salesman practices his pitch. You know, he knows how to talk. आपको लगता है कि वो आपसे spontaneously बात कर रहा है? It should be all practiced. If it's face-to-face selling, please practice what you're going to say. Don't say it like a parrot, but you know, the word should be like this. You know what you have to say. You should be able to sell the product in 45 seconds. You should be able to sell a product in 5 minutes. You should be able to talk about the product for 15 minutes. All the three you should be able to have. Even if you are volunteer and if you are trying to convince people to join some good program, you know, then we should be able to talk about the program in 45 seconds, in 5 minutes, and in 15 minutes. So based on the time available with the customer, you should be able to make that pitch. And this is where I'm saying selling is a skill. People आज आपने concept समझ लिया, इसको practice नहीं किया, and again, if you don't practice, you will not be a great salesman. It is not enough to know the art of selling. It is not enough to know the science of brain and science of selling, but you have to have the skill of selling. And the skill comes from repetition, like anything else. Okay? Another great secret, you know, that I would like to share is people love humor. Most people love humor. Have a pack of jokes and witty one-liners which you can use and kind of relax your customer. You know, we know that, again, coming to the first slide, you know that a customer thinks from here, from his forehead, from the cognitive, from his prefrontal cortex. So when a person is relaxed, when he's laughing, then he is here. So if you find a person is very tensed, he's not, you know, listening to you, he's about to go, you change the conversation, make it a little humorous. He'll start liking you, you know, he'll start relaxing and he'll start listening to you. Humor is a very important part of sales, and because it creates a likeness factor, it makes the person, he starts trying, you know, liking you, trusting you. You know, that's so important. Keep humor up your sleeves. Keep one-liners, you know, with you, and please take care that sensitive people should not get hurt. You know, make sure you don't make the wrong joke in front of the, you know, on a topic that a person is very sensitive about, and otherwise you can lose the sales also. So just take care of this. So with this, I have wound up with 4 minutes extra time, and I just took some time for questions. Are there any quick questions that we can take? Yes, I think anybody wants to ask a question? Okay, let me just, okay, yes. Any questions? How to create leads for online product, okay. That I saw that question, Munira, good. Okay. That's the, I have trouble with setting up follow-up in my team. What can I do? Okay. Okay. All right. So let me take up both these questions together. I will take the second one first and then come to the first one. The second one, how do I follow up with my team, or how do I set up? Selling is a system. You know? I will try to give some information about this in the group. That selling is a system, and you can set a nearly automated system on selling by using the right technology, where the follow-up becomes an essential part of the process, and you don't have to have a headache of following up again and again with the team. If the team wants its basic salary on first, second, third, then they have to do these activities, and in that activities the aspects of follow-up is there. But remember, don't forget to incentivize. If your sales team is not performing, then there can be 2-3 problems. Either the product is not right, solution not right, or the product and solution not required by the market, or you have not given them incentives, or they have not understood that what is the how to sell this. There was so much more I wanted to do today, but didn't have time, that about sales and selling. So Munira, coming to your question, how to generate leads. There is a complete system of generating leads by the organic method without spending money, and spending money, the advertisement method. So social media marketing is one way to generate leads without spending money. Create something that people need. Like all of you have giving me your email address, right? You're giving me an email address, getting value out of this. Otherwise, you wouldn't share. You're there in the group. You're sharing your mobile number, selling your data. Why? Because it's creating value. So give something of value to the customer and take his email ID, his contact, with his subtle permission that can I send you something? Is it okay? And if he gives permission, then you start mentoring the customer. A lead is an email ID. Look at it in very simple words. A phone number and an email ID who has got in touch with you and shown you some interest. Okay, I have some interest in your product. That's a lead. And then slowly you take him down the funnel. You mentor that person. That's a subject of discussion. We can take it up later. You're also in the IUH BISCI course, so we will discuss there also. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you. Neil Sen Gupta, of the different bias types, how we use or balance the reward punishment bias. So you should use 2, 3, 4 biases together. Okay, it's not that you use one. You have to use a good cluster of biases together. For example, you say that this product, which is if it's a manufacturer who has become a retailer, then take that situation where there's a big margin. Usually, a product which is worth 100 rupees is sold for 300 rupees minimum from manufacturer to retailer. Now, if a manufacturer has become an e-retailer, then there's a big margin that he can discount to create that sales. So what he can do is he say that this same product which is available for 300 rupees, I am going to give you for 225 rupees, but and you're going to save this. That is a reward. He gets a great, I'm going to get this. Okay, and what is the punishment? I have only 10 pieces left. So if you don't buy now, you may lose this, and you will have to buy that for 300 rupees. How you position it? That you are first giving him a big incentive by saving him 75 rupees or 100 rupees, which is really big, and then you tell him that I have only 10 pieces left. In the stock. And I'm selling 10 pieces every day. So you need to think about it. And then there are technology on the net which, when the person is going, the technology senses this person is going to go away and send you a pop-up. Are you really sure you want to, not look at this opportunity of saving 100 rupees right now? So that is the use of the punishment bias. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And if you've loved the presentation, I hope I just put a lot of good. I mean, what is your honest opinions? I'm not saying put good things. Do comment in the group very aggressively and make all the guys who didn't register, make them feel bad. They're not going to get this. We want to send it only to the 33 people who registered, and those who have missed it, they'll send an email because they would like to see it, and we'll request Deepak Bhai to share it with them, and only with them. A lot of other guys feel that you must not miss Sunday Pathshala. Okay, see you. Have a great time. Thank you so much for attending, and I enjoyed talking to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I am leaving. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your comments. They're so very nice. Love to see them in the group to encourage others. That don't miss the Sunday Pathshala.
Thank you, brother. Okay.
Hey, Arvind. Hi.
Thanks. Thank you.